So it's your boy Yirmiyahu Ben Israel, and my oh my, ooh, hallelujah, praise Yah, all praise to the Most High God of Israel, who brought our forefathers and our nation out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage, to a land flowing with milk and honey. That is right. So today, or right now, we're going to discuss how a very interesting story, actually from ChristianHeadlines.com. It's in regards to the title is actually Church of Scotland apologizes for its role in TransAtlantic Slave Trade. Wow. Man. Honestly, if all these issues could apologize for the role of the forefathers in the transatlantic slave trade, we were as a whole, not just the nation of Israel, but all nations coming together to acknowledge God's chosen ones. We do get back to righteousness a lot faster here. But here we go. I'm going to start reading this right here. It says, the Church of Scotland is preparing an official apology and a statement to acknowledge its involvement with historic chattel slavery. The Faith Impact Forum, on behalf of the Church, has published a Legacies of Slavery report examining its role in the transatlantic slave trade. The report looked at a 131-year period from the Act of Union in 1707 to the abolition of slavery in the West Indies in the 1830s. That's me right there. I'm American, but both of my parents are from the island of Jamaica. I'm directly plugged in. Just right there. Shout out to my Jamaicans, my Rastafarians. Y'all definitely Israel when it comes to being brought here by European slave ships, British slave ships actually, and to get where you're at today. Got a lot of work to do, but all praise to the Most High. We're gonna continue. The report looked at a 131-year period from the Act of Union in 1707 to the abolition of slavery in the West Indies in the 1830s. It was acknowledged that some Church of Scotland ministers and elders inherited wealth from relatives who owned slave plantations. Some church buildings also created memorials to honor people who profited from the suffering of slaves in the slave trade. The church the church organization itself is also the custodian of a financial fund linked to compensation paid to a family fiscally affected by the abolition of slavery. The General Assembly overseeing matters for the church is now consulting with the wider fellowship in anticipation of a detailed statement on the overall issue at a future assembly meeting. At a recent Church of Scotland General Assembly meeting, Reverend Karen Hendry, convener of the Faith Impact Forum, said, "We are a part of a worldwide church. Our prayers and actions are thus informed by the shared lived experience of people in many places, including some represented in our midst at this assembly, for which we are more than grateful." These wider partnerships, as well as bringing opportunities for mutual support and cooperation, also afford us the possibility of informed reflection and the acknowledgement that there are aspects of our past as a church that we look on now with deep regret. The Legacies of Slavery report gives substance to such a part of our history, and we seek to humbly acknowledge this and think how we apologize. This requires further work and preparation, and this is what the forum is asking this assembly to agree to. The report helps us to understand better the historic relation between chattel slavery and the Church of Scotland and the continuing legacy of that abominable practice. We offer this report on the clear understanding that the Assembly will want to affirm that we are members of a church that is actively anti-racist. The Church of Scotland report does not blame people today for actions in the past, but it does affirm that racism is a sin because all humans have equal dignity in the eyes of God. It is hoped that education will help church members learn about the previous connections to slavery. Church memorials to those who benefited to slavery will not be removed, but utilized to help inform congregations about the history. The report also acknowledges that chattel slavery, whereby slaves were seen as the legal personal property of a slave owner, influenced the worldwide view, wrongly seeing black people as less than white people. Reverend Sandy Horsberg, a minister of St. Nicholas Bocliac in Dalkeith, Midlothian, commented the report. He said, "Racism is an outgoing, daily, pernicious legacy of slavery which permeates every part of our society." So I commend the Faith Impact Forum and thanks the authors of this report. You have shown a light on things that you have shown a light on things that were hidden in plain sight, but things which we need to see and understand. Through this report, we know our cities, our society, our church, and ourselves just a bit better. Local churches will be encouraged to research the history of slavery in their locality. As part of the apology process, church members will also celebrate Racial Justice Sunday, held each February, to challenge racism and end racial injustice. Now, it all sounds good and dandy and sweet and all that, but in reality, this is somewhat of a push forward when it comes to acknowledging that slavery was a thing and yada yada yada. But what they really need to push on is to acknowledge that these bywords that they call us, these so-called black people, are the children of Israel. This is something that they need to acknowledge. I mean, it looks cool. I mean, that they're acknowledging that slavery was bad and everything, but as you heard, they also mentioned that although they see that slavery is, and they're going to acknowledge that slavery is bad, they're not going to say that, or they're not going to apologize for the actions that their forefathers have done in the past. They're not going to apologize for that as well. Well, then to me, if you're not going to acknowledge that, then you're not going to take full responsibility, because literally it's because of what your forefathers have done is the reason why we are here today. As a matter of fact, it's the reason what my forefathers have done is the reason why I'm in the predicament today. And these things are passed down from generation to generation, which is why we as a people, we have to do our thing in order to break these generational curses, or else it's going to carry on to the next generation, the next generation, the next seed, and so on and so forth. You can't break curses if it doesn't start with you. That's not how it works. You have to take the initiative and say, hey, I acknowledge what my forefathers have done, and I personally apologize and take full responsibility. You have to be the one who starts first. You got to be the first one to be ready to race down the track field. Because to just put the blame on somebody else and just keep moving, well, that's where we're at today. That's where we have the cycle of continuation, where nothing's going to change. Only thing that's going to change is the people, the people's. I guess you could say it's just going to go from generation to generation. Nothing's really going to change unless you take that initiative to acknowledge that and then go on from there. And it'd be nice if this Church of Scotland can also acknowledge that the reason why slavery even happened is because y'all's chosen people did not honor his law, statutes, and commandments. They went after other gods. They were warned, by Yah, and we didn't take the warning. We did as we wanted to do, and we see where we are today. Even though we were chosen, we are above all people upon the face of the earth. We still are treated like very terribly. That's why every group, every other race gets treated with dignity and greatness and humility. But when it comes to these black people, always going to be looked at as slave, monkey, all the bywords you could think of. And the reason why is because not only because of the spirit of Isu and spirit of Charles Darwin and all other very racist Edomites. These things are passed down from generation to generation, just like how the spirit of Jezebel is passed around from generation to generation, which is why she lives in these harlots. They all look up to her, and all these top celebrities, you got your Nicki Minaj's, your Taylor Swift's. They look up to these women as the face of the earth. They look at them like they're gods, even though all they are just humans, like everybody else. And it's quite a shame. It's quite a shame. But yep. I mean, it looks cool. I mean, they're acknowledging that they did play a role, whether actively or not. I mean, you're a part of it. It's in your history. Whether you want to take it or leave it, that's up to you. But yep, that's my opinion on this. Yahoo. I'm out.